The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development. With a magazine and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives, at The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for being here and welcome. Welcome to this series of webinars that I've been doing for a long time now called Inspiring People. And today I have the pleasure and the honor of speaking with, one of my favorites on the world, on the planet. Sharon Lechter, how are you?
I am fantastic, Bernardo. Wonderful to see you, and always love connecting with you.
So for those of you that may not know, okay, and I'm going to do the brief intro because, if I had to say everything about Sharon, that will be the webinar over. But anyway, she's many, many things, but, she's obviously a great grandma, married for many years. I won't even ask you, but you can tell me in a minute, Sharon.
I'm a great, meaning fabulous grandma. I'm not a great grandma yet. Just clarifying.
Okay. But she's an entrepreneur, international speaker, best-selling author, mentor, philanthropist, licensed CPA, and chartered global management accountant. She's a financial expert and has been, and then, and specializes in helping people with entrepreneurial success. But she's been at the forefront, she's of everything. And I'm sure a lot of you might or might not know, but Sharon co-authored the international best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was released, after released another 14 books, if not more, and over 10 years is the co-founder and CEO, and she built it into what it was. And I'm going to share something with you now regarding that and my experience. She's also been asked by the Napoleon Hill Foundation to write many books, including the Think and Grow Rich for Women, 3 Feet from Gold, Outwitting the Devil, but Sharon's been literally helping companies and advising, like Disney, Time Warner, and also served with 2 US presidents as an advisor. So in financial literacy. So, when it comes down to expertise and being able to speak to someone or listen to someone that, not only is congruent with her message, but also is a walking legend, because, they use the word legend very vaguely, you see, nowadays. But this is Sharon. So Sharon, I've got my book here, okay, which I found that I walk in front of every day. As you can see, it's pretty torn, okay. It's quite yellow there. Yeah. So
I love it.
I remember when I read this book, which was easily 16, 17 years ago, the impact it had on me, and it was, I was reading quite a lot of personal development books about this one. And then obviously all the others came, and this one also, as you can see, is quite yellow, quite used. But I remember reading this book and then, kind of putting 2 and 2 together when I met Sharon for the first time live, and she shared, and I put 2 and 2 together. I said, oh my God, this is the Sharon Lechter. So, great to see you again, Sharon. And I've had the pleasure of, she's been speaking, she spoke at my expo. I was mentored by Sharon for a year, and I consider her a friend. And she's just great to have someone that you can send a message and an email and she responds immediately, as she always does. And then out of the blue, as she normally does, when you least expect it, you get those words that you just need. That's who you are. So thank you so much for being in my life.
Well, thank you, Bernardo. I just love it. Maybe we should just end the interview here. You made me sound so good. I appreciate that.
No, thank you. So look, we were just talking off camera when we just started about, kind of where we are. And I want to jump into the current situation. So I've seen, obviously, you like everyone, trying to step up to help contribute in as many ways as possible of how we can, support and help people. So what are you advising and what are you doing more of now than ever?
Well, a lot of different things, but primarily, it's one thing that we realize we're all full of fear, right? And fear it's legitimate right now. We have not just the fear of the virus, we have the fear of the markets, the financial uncertainty with unemployment going through the roof, and the fear of the unknown. When are we going to get through this? Then you add the fear of isolation. Most of us are type A. We're used to be extroverted. We're used to being out there, and now we're kind of isolated. And so all of those together, it's like, it's the trifecta of fear. And fear can do one of two things. It paralyzes us, which is doing to most of us, or it motivates us. There's a lot of humor now out about I'm changing my day pajamas to my night pajamas, or I'm watching Netflix. I'm binge watching Netflix. And yes, there's humor there, but pay attention. This is a global reset. Everything has stopped. And so it is an opportunity for us to reset our lives and to look and see what's working and what's not, and start sharpening the tools. I have many people that I know that are now taking classes from Yale or Harvard to be able to add that knowledge to their toolbox, and it's very inexpensive. And it's like, what a great opportunity to pad your resume, right? To give you that additional brand recognition. But people have an opportunity now to redefine what they want, retool, meaning what skills do you need to work on? What do you need to sharpen? And then be ready to refire, because we're going to come out of this very strong. If we compare this back to 2008, we were a sick economy when it collapsed in 2008. So it took a long time to repair. This time, we were the strongest we've ever been. Lowest unemployment rate in decades. Our stock market was setting all-time highs. It was very, very strong. And then the carpet got pulled out from underneath us. And so when we come back, we will come back very strong. So are you going to be prepared to benefit from it? Or are you going to have been numb and paralyzed this whole time and then have everybody just rush by you because you're not prepared? And so my goal in all these interviews I'm doing is to help people find that one or two things that can help them be better prepared for the future.
Well, I think one of the things that is key there is obviously the word fear. There's a lot of people that are just simply frozen, and they're frozen because, they have a set of skills that they've learned, or, they have a job that they've been, working in for a number of years. And they haven't thought of doing anything else in their life, maybe because for whatever reason, either because they didn't believe in it, they didn't have the time. But this is exactly it. This is the time really when you've got to dig deep and to find out what you're passionate about and learn. I mean, you were saying about a lot of people. I mean, I've always wanted to learn a little bit more about stock, investing in stock, and reviewing kind of like, how to analyze it. But this is the time that people really have to be proactive, isn't it? I mean, that's the problem, is that a lot of people are too fearful and not taking action.
That's exactly right. I mean, now's the time. I'm actually spending time trying to learn how to work on Instagram, right? My skills are pathetic, so I'm spending a little effort to try and get better at that. But each of us has the opportunity to really chart out a course. There are no excuses, no blame necessary. We're all in the same boat. And so the people the most successful businesses solve a problem or serve a need. I think we have a few of both of those right now. And so now is the time to define where you want to go. And I actually just use this, so I'm going to show it. My second book with Rich Dad was the cash flow quadrant. And on the left side, this is the 4 ways we make money. On the left side is E&S, that's employee and self-employed. That's us exchanging time for money, right? It's you on the rat race. The right side of the quadrant is business owners and investors. That's where you have other people working for you in other systems. This is also where the economic engines are. On this side, you're the only engine. So I teach people how to move to the right side. I teach people how to create those economic engines. And right now, you have a great opportunity to create economic engines, whether it be write a book, create an online course, come up with something that other people want that takes your expertise from here and creates an asset. My favorite word on earth, asset. Assets are sexy. The only thing in common of wealthy people around the globe, no matter what language they speak, no matter what their address is, they all have income producing assets. And those are found on the right side. So think about what you can do, because the people on the right side of the quadrant, while we're all suffering, we're getting through this crisis a lot easier than those people who lost their livelihood on the left side. And now is the time to start thinking about what you can do to create those assets that will help you. You know, heaven forbid we have another something like this, but prepare yourself to be able to get through it much more easily.
I was talking to someone the other day, and we were talking about personal growth, professional growth, and obviously, you know, having a set of skills, obviously the right mindset, you know, to be able to get through this. You know, visualizing, being able to obviously see, you know, the positive, reframing the current situation we have. But I've got to say that obviously this is the time when really understanding how important understanding financial literacy and wealth management and wealth training is so key, because, you know, as great as personal development is, and it is, there's no doubt in having the right mindset helps. But, you know, having financial literacy is so important. And then, yeah, I think, Sharon, it is probably at the top of the list in many of this arena. Don't you think?
Oh, it absolutely is. And mindset also has a lot to do with financial literacy, because most of us grew up thinking, you know, we never learned anything about money. So we learned about it at home. That's why they say the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. So, you know, a lot of our issues around money are fear-based and mindset-based. You grow up and your parents said money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford it, save your pennies, save for a rainy day. All of those things are negative. So we grow up as children hearing money negative, money negative, money negative. And so no wonder we're afraid we're never going to have enough money. We believe in a scarcity mentality. Once you can acknowledge that and see where it came from, you can start releasing it and realize that become a master of your money, not a slave. The people that are slaves to their money right now are the ones that are suffering the most. Become a master of your money and realize that we live in a world of abundance, and there's never been a better time to start a business online, to create those economic engines. I talk about in 3 Feet from Gold, my first book with the Napoleon Hill Foundation, I talked about the personal success equation. And never more so than now is a time for people to look at that and say, how do you need to tweak it? Because the personal success equation is your passion and your talent. So, you know, what do you love or what do you hate? For me, my passion comes from being mad that we weren't teaching kids about money in school. And your talent, I'm a CPA and I have a lot of publishing experience. And most of us stop there thinking we have to do it on our own. But business is a team sport. And the next element, passion plus talent times the power of association, exactly what you and I are doing right now, Bernardo, that power of association, supporting each other and helping. Who's on your team? Who's your mentor? When you're in the midst of fear, the people around you are so important because they can either help pull you out of it or pull you more into the deep end. Your power of association. The next one is times taking action. So instead of binge watching Netflix, use this time to invest in yourself, to learn something or to create something that will be there ready to become an economic engine for you. And the last element is plus F. Most of us, that F is fear, and that's what holds us back. But that F for successful people is faith. And that's having faith in yourself, having faith in what you're doing, have faith that it's needed and necessary, and that builds that self-confidence. And that's one of the biggest things right now that's under fire. People's self-confidence is cringing because they're afraid for their life, they're afraid for their finances, they're alone, and all of those things combine and create a very negative environment. And now more than ever, I know you're familiar with the book Outwitting the Devil that I brought out in 2011. This is such a great tool for people right now because it helps you analyze that fear and helps you blast through it and conquer it and create, instead of being fearful, train your mind to recognize the opportunities. And that's what we do with all the people that we work with, recognizing those opportunities. Have you thought of opening new doors?
It is said that we live in a world our questions create. And it's true. Those that have succeeded in life, those that stand out, those that have made a difference, those that are inventing, those that are exploring, pushing the boundaries of reality are based on those that have asked themselves empowering questions. In my new book, The Question, Find Your True Purpose, I help you find your true purpose, find your legacy. For more information, go to www.thequestion.co. If you're interested in working with me, contributing, speaking at any of our many events, partnering, or licensing The Best You, for more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.
So I'm just going to ask you, because you just mentioned Outwitting the Devil. So why is that book specifically, out of all the books you've written, and I know you've written a lot of books, but why is that book currently right now so current?
Well, I've written 25, but this one was my second book with the foundation. And this was written by Napoleon Hill. So everybody watching or listening probably has heard of Think and Grow Rich. And Napoleon Hill took 25 years releasing that in 1937. And it's as valid today as it was when he released it.
Absolutely.
But when he released it, he knew he was frustrated. He said, even though people know what they're supposed to do, they don't do it. Anybody feel like that was aimed at them? Yeah, me too. And so he said in a few short months, he sat down and wrote Outwitting the Devil. And he felt like it was delivered to him. Today we would use the word downloaded, but that word didn't exist in 1938. But he produced Outwitting the Devil, and the name of it scared his wife to death because she was working for the Presbyterian College. So she forbid it to be published. And so the book ended up getting locked, and the manuscript was locked in a vault. And he died in 1970. She died in 1984, 86. Her sister didn't die. She died in, I can't remember, 2007 or something. That's when the manuscript came to the foundation. And Don Green called me and said, Sharon, I have this manuscript. I'm not quite sure what to do with it. I'd love for you to look at it. And so I ran off to San Diego where I do most of my writing. And I literally had the manuscript typed on a manual typewriter with his handwritten notes on it from 1938. I felt like I was in this conversation with Napoleon Hill. Incredible experience. And I read it in a few short hours, and I said, this has to get out. Maybe she wouldn't let it be published, but I think there was a higher authority at work because it's a perfect book for today. Now, I thought it was a perfect book for us coming out of the 2008 financial disaster. We released it in 2011, but it is so pertinent today because on page 61, Napoleon Hill talks about the devil releases what he does to keep people in fear. Okay, I'll just read this quick thing. He says, one of my cleverest devices for mind control is fear. I plant the seed of fear in the minds of people, and as these seeds germinate and grow through use, I control the space they occupy. The 6 most effective fears are the fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. And then he's asked, which of these 6 fears serves you most often? And he says, the first and the last, poverty and death. At one time or another during life, I tighten my grip on all people through one or both of these. What are we most fearful of right now? Death and poverty. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, and so this book goes into the depths of all of these fears. He goes against all the taboos, politics, education, religion, sex, alcohol, cigarettes. He takes them all on about how he takes control of our minds and how as the devil basically creates the lack of us being tied into our own brain and in control of our own mind. And that right now is so important because so many people, you use the word frozen in fear. I go paralyzed in fear. Mm. And when you are paralyzed in fear, you want to turn off the lights, hide in the corner, get under the covers. And what does that do? It actually hurts your immune system because you're thinking negative thoughts and you're attracting negative results. So financial and mindset go hand in hand. Personal development and financial development. You can have all the personal development in the world, but if you don't have some financial development, you're going to be struggling. Yeah. So they go hand in hand. And because money is, it's just a piece of paper with ink on it. The value you assign to it is all up here.
That's great advice.
You got me on my soapbox.
No, and I think kind of like, having the experience you have and what you've done for so many years. And then obviously, you mentioned Think and Grow Rich. I mean, that book is, or has been, the Bible, for so many people, and it's still so current. And so many of us have read it so many times, and for you to be able to have that manuscript in your hand and then listen to this book, and I listened to the book and then I've read it as well. It is extremely powerful, and especially, as you say, coming from you. I can only imagine how he was channeling, or how this wisdom was coming to him, to Napoleon Hill, because it is deep. It's very, very deep. So Sharon, with where we are now, I also believe this is the closest time to a complete reset. As you said, everything stops. We're all paused. We're all at home. We all have now time to, for those have time to spend time with the family. Some of us can't because they're all grown up and they moved away. But maybe some people, they hate what they wish for, because now all of a sudden, they're stuck in a home with their family and loved ones so many hours, so many days. But I do believe that, I really believe, and I say this, I've said this quite a few times, I'm really feeling the creativity that is actually being generated as we speak. I'm feeling the energy, and I'm feeling how all this is going to be translated into so much creativity as we come out on the other side. Some people will stay back, some people will be frozen, some people will be still in fear and still, keeping 22 feet away from others. But I think it's a phenomenal time for creativity and for a new beginning, really, in so many beautiful ways.
I agree so much, Bernardo. I used to say this, and it had a little different impact now with what's going on. But I say, if we think about when we're children, we're very creative and curious. Your kids are asking, why? Very curious. They build forts out of blankets and pillows in the living room. And then they go to school, and in school, they're taught a certain amount of conformity. And part of that we have to live in a society. But then they end up graduating, they get their career, and they become comfortable. And so as we're comfortable, we get complacent. And what shakes us up in complacency is a crisis. And it throws us into chaos. Now, I think we're there. We're in the middle of crisis and we're in the middle of chaos. How do we get out of it? By becoming curious and creative again. So you and I are singing the same song, just in different keys. Absolutely. This is the time to allow your imagination to be creative and to think about what problem can you solve? What need can you serve? How can you retool your existing business? Look at your existing business and say, what's not working? What will work better in the future? What can I make more virtual? How can I reach more people? And how do I support that? I mean, what we've done in the last few months is we took one of our premier programs and basically cut the price down to almost nothing, because I want to make sure people have the financial wisdom that they deserve to be able. Right now, you have the opportunity to sit down and dig deep into your finances and look and see where you've been, where you've come from. What did you invest in wisely? What did you spend unwisely? And make those one or two small tweaks that can set you up for a much better and much more financially successful future. Now's the time to take the time to dig in and say, what can I change? What's my good debt? What's my bad debt? I just did an interview yesterday with somebody about the historic low interest rates. Do you have a home mortgage that needs to be refinanced? Get rid of those high interest credit cards. Start positioning yourself so that you won't have that kind of financial bad debt in the future.
Mm. And I think obviously that the word reinvention, is probably in the mind of many people, and a lot of the businesses, even. I mean, there's a lot of business obviously that have are benefiting very well. They're doing really well from the current situation. Obviously, if you're a supermarket, you're doing extremely well. If you're Amazon, you're doing very well. But there's a lot of companies that have repositioned themselves, and they've repositioned themselves quickly, or have slightly reinvented. And I think sometimes people struggle with the word reinvention. But what I believe in is that we all have a set of skills that we're bringing from our early years that are part of who we are. And they are assets within reason. And it is identifying what, as you said before, what are the things that I'm really good at? What can I go out there and bring some revenue from, or share wisdom with? And that's kind of where I think people struggle with the word reinvention or change, and everything that has happened.
I love that. Because sometimes reinvention is choice, other times it's by force. But when you talk about your passion and talents, if you go to personalsuccessequation.com, I have a process for you to walk through to really look at your passions, to look at your talents, and then really look at the associations. Because sometimes right now we need to say some of those associations we have need to go away. And what new associations do you need to bring in, and the actions that you can take, and then ways to build your self-confidence. So at personalsuccessequation.com, it's free. It's not a sales pitch. It helps you really start looking at what you're doing, and it will help you do that reinvention. Bernardo, I often use in my talks something where I go, sometimes you have to close one door for other doors of opportunity to open. And I use that in relationship to me making the decision to leave the Rich Dad company. And when I did that, I didn't know what the future held for me. But had I not closed that door, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to work for President Bush and Obama, nor the opportunity to work with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And so every time I speak, I talk about sometimes there's a door you need to close so other doors can open. Well, today, I have to revise that. Sometimes doors get closed on you, right? We're here. Something's happened. I'm probably 15 different speaking engagements that are no longer happening because of what's gone on in the world. Our ranch, I'm sitting here at our ranch, and we've lost $75,000 worth of business for the last couple of months because of what's going on. So sometimes things happen. Well, and then what are those doors of opportunity that are waiting for you to open? We're doing some work that we had, wanted to do here that we couldn't do because we didn't want to disturb the guests. So now we're getting a facelift on the things we needed to do. What kinds of opportunities can you start opening the door to and recognizing them? And sometimes it's hard to recognize them, and they're right there in front of your face. That's the importance of having a mentor. That's the importance of having the right people around you, people who want to support you. I have a couple of different groups. One, I just stopped going to because everybody's so fearful and negative. You just feel yourself go down. No, I want people to say, this is a huge opportunity. I'm looking, there's a lot of stocks right now that are way undervalued. And it's going to be a while before they come back. But when's the right time to buy? When the prices are low. And so it's time to start looking at what business opportunities, how can you retool? Most of my business had been face-to-face organic speaking for many years. Well, about 2 years ago, I said, Angela is my vice president. We said, we need to start doing more online. So we started preparing. And so now we have the opportunity to help people through our online offerings that I didn't have 2 years ago. But we are still working and retooling. Say, what else can we do? I launched my podcast, The Play Big Movement with Sharon Lechter. It's free, that you can access and you can listen to them to give you those words of encouragement and help you recognize those ideas. I do weekly broadcasts in my Play Big Movement personal Facebook group. Each of us has a responsibility to reach out and help each other. And as the Bible says, to those who have given much, much is expected. And so I've been making myself available. I'm in 4 or 5 different broadcasts a day, simply because I want to support people taking the action they need. But don't sit all day and just watch Facebook or watch programs. Take action. Employ them. Find out one thing that you can do to move yourself forward.
To find out about my latest projects, get a free coaching lesson, or download my book, go to www.bernardo-moya.com.
Yeah, great advice, Sharon. And look, I mean, as someone that was mentored by Sharon, I understand the importance of having a mentor and having the right mentor, and obviously, having the right people around you. One of my favorite hashtags no negativity, and hashtag no negative people. So, I believe that's the time, and also I think being someone that's also at home and spending time at home, I believe that it's important to make sure that you compartmentalize time to allocate to do different things, because you could literally get stuck behind the computer, or you could spend 3 hours on Netflix. Actually, I suggest Disney Plus if you're going to spend some time, because they've got some good stuff there, and stocks going up. So there's definitely things that you can do, but you have to be action driven. You have to take action, and you have to take action now and make sure that you do. So I know, obviously, things are moving online, e-commerce. So what do you think are good opportunities now, to obviously for those that are at the bottom and say, hey, I haven't got a lot of money to play around with, or those that maybe are really looking at starting all over again? What would you advise them to do?
Well, there's, I actually don't have that sheet with me right now. There are several industries that have been really badly hit. For instance, energy sectors are down by almost 50%. And there are things that need to change. It's going to be a while because of the impact it's had, and people aren't driving. So the demand for oil is going to be down too. But it will come back. It's the lowest it's been in many, many, many years. There are other sectors that have been badly hurt, but they're going to come back. And you look at right now, those that haven't been hurt a lot are those that are like internet communications, because I wish I'd invested in Zoom 3 months ago. So those things, but looking at the telecommunications side, those things, we know that's going to be there. Now, I got criticized yesterday, but a little bit, because I said right now is a good time to be looking at real estate, rental real estate, residential real estate, because that's recession proof. Everybody needs somewhere to live. I would not be investing in commercial property. Now, that's my opinion. Yes, it's going to be very low, but I don't know what the retail environment is going to rebound to. There's a lot of bricks and mortar out there. There's a lot of empty space that's going to be impacted. The number of companies that never went virtual that are now virtual may want to remain that way. And so from my perspective, unless I really understand the industry and understand the appeal of commercial real estate, I'm going to stay away from that, because I want to see it rebound. There's no doubt in my mind, B&C properties and residential rental are the way to be recession-proof, because people always need a place to live. Now, yes, right now, a lot of people that are renters can't pay their rent, but they're getting assistance, and landlords are able to get some assistance as well. So when we talk about diversification, most personal financial planners talk about different types of paper assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. When I talk about diversification of assets, it's across asset categories: paper assets, businesses, owning businesses, real estate, intellectual property. All of those are different asset classes. And when one's going up, another one may be coming down. But that's what gives you that balance to be able to move forward.
Brilliant advice, Sharon. And yes, I mean, there's, but a lot of it is obviously that's what happens. The market now was stabilized. Some of the things were really high. I mean, I was looking at Facebook ads. I mean, investing in Facebook ads was just disproportionate now for what you would pay, for anything, for a click. And now all of a sudden, Facebook ad doesn't have the amount of business that it had before. So it's a lot more affordable. Now, what's next for you? What are you working on at the moment? I know you've got a lot of online content, which is accessible for a lot of people, and you're very generous with your time. But what are you working on now? What are you doing in this downtime? Are you keeping yourself busy? I know you are. I'm just joking.
Well, thank you, Bernardo. Yes, I have. I'm actually in the midst of doing another mastermind related to Think and Grow Rich for Women, the book. I'm actually launching I have a free Facebook page called Crushing Fear by Outwitting the Devil. And it's actually kicking off tomorrow. 6 weeks. Anybody can join it. I'm going to be going through it with my dear friend, Lisa Copeland. Really, we did this program several years ago and charged $1,000 for it, but I'm doing it for free now. We have we just decided to do it this weekend, and we already have over 400 people in the group. Invite everybody to join that, even if you come midway. We're going through and talking about how to get rid of that fear and how to turn that fear into energy and how to create opportunities in your life. And so that's something that's brand new. I just dedicated myself to that and to help people get through this very difficult time. But I have a new book coming out in July, Bernardo. I actually wanted to talk to you about it. It's called Exit Rich. I wrote it with Michelle Seiler Tucker, one of the top women business brokers in the country. And it's about how to build your business so that it's not just successful, but it's scalable, sustainable, and saleable. And how to position it so that when you want to do an exit strategy, you are positioned for the greatest and highest value. And so I'm pretty excited about that. It was picked up by Inc. magazine. So it's under the Inc. magazine imprint. It's actually supposed to be published this month, but we've delayed it to July, given everything that's happening in the world. So I'm excited about that, excited about having the Inc. magazine connection. Again, power of association, right? And continue to work. I was just asked to be a host of a podcast called Women Investing Network, talking primarily about real estate investing. So that's pretty exciting. That's going to be launching soon. So always looking for the next opportunity to serve. As right now, we all need to help everybody else we can.
Well, brilliant. As always, you're super busy, as always. Sharon, I wanted to ask you, what do you think, I mean, in general, because within the fear, I get there's a lot of people that, can't see, maybe, I don't know, not maybe, I know 2.5-3 months ago, if they would have said, hey, the whole world is going to be at home and everyone's going to literally not, restaurant, and everybody said, this is madness. So that's happened. Now, we used to go out and get close to each other and everything was okay. I went upstairs to the terrace up here and I was close to a neighbor. They must have been at least 20 feet away and their eyes were popping out like I was getting too close, So we've got this madness fear now. But so many people can't actually see or visualize that this will, we'll get back to a different normal, but normal. People will be back at bars. They'll be back at restaurants. People will be socializing because we are. So what's your thoughts on, and I know this is kind of a prediction, but what's your thoughts on kind of the process? Because I know you got a lot of inside information. How do you think things are going to roll out in the coming months?
Well, I think we're going to end up becoming a healthier society. We're going to be much more aware of germs, and I think we will be a much more compassionate society. That's my hope and dream. We will not go back to normal. We will establish a new normal. I think that once this gets past us, we will get back to having sports events and people cheering and sitting next to each other. But I think it may take a while. And certainly air travel, understanding the cleanliness of the planes, those things. As you well know, Bernardo, you and I, but we spent a lot of time on planes, going all the time. Literally, most of my conversations with people had in airports, going from one place to another. So I think, the hospitality industries are going to take a little longer to come back, but this is a time to turn that into an opportunity. All right. Go local, right? Go somewhere you can drive in your car and enjoy the beauty of the country that you live in and the state that you live on. So turn the, lemons into lemonade, but there are going to be some industries that take longer to come back. Others are going to soar. And the idea is to pay attention and to educate yourself and be prepared, not to buy them at the high, but buy them while they're ready to, go up. I say this is a big wave that's coming, right? It's already conquered us. And so that next wave coming in, are you going to be prepared to ride it and be at the top of the wave, or are you going to let it crash on top of you again? And that's what those people that are hiding in fear and becoming couch potatoes, changing day pajamas for night pajamas, they're not going to be prepared to succeed. And so now is the time for all of us. Everybody's in the same book. Everybody's in this, we're in the same boat. We have all had this happen to us. How are you going to deal with it? How are you going to come back on the other side? The sad piece of this is this pressure cooker that we're all in at home with our families. There's, I'm on the National Board for Child Help. There's been a 20% increase in calls to our hotline. Kids saying school was my safe place, and now I'm not there. I'm here, and that's sad. It's heartbreaking. So we have to reach out and help the people around us to be that lifeline to support them. One of the people, I'm concerned about single people that are alone, that are used to being out and about, single people that are sitting at home and they really don't have anywhere to go. It's a terrifying thing. I've had conversations over the last week with people I haven't talked to in years, and it's been wonderful. So reach out. And I tell people, everybody, this whole generation have become texters. Everything's through text. And I go, actually start talking to people again. Because I say, yes, we have social distancing. That's territorial, right? Let's not have emotional distancing. Reach out and really connect with people and heart to heart. And this is a time to turn the world into a much kinder, gentler place.
Well, Sharon, thank you so much for your time. Always very generous. Always lovely to see you. I will send you an email anyway to thank you personally. But thank you so much. Stay safe. And looking forward to seeing you soon and giving you a hug.
Well, thank you, Bernardo. And I just think this is a great opportunity for the Best You. Anybody that's out there, you've got incredible offerings and you're a great testament to retooling and adjusting your business from these mega events, which will still happen in the future, but you've taken that and now you've created these offerings virtually. And that's what every business needs to say. How can I retool and add value through a different medium that will give you that flexibility? Because people are going to want to come back to mega events. It's just going to take a while, but you're still providing the opportunity for them to get the resource and the education and the power of association that they need. So thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, no, thank you, Sharon. And we've been, luckily we've been doing that for a long time. We documented everything. So we had it all on the Best You Online. It was just literally now revving it up a little bit sooner than, but I also think I do believe it is about that. It is, I think what's going to come from now are these really strong alliances and good, strong partnerships are going to come from this, because I think a lot of minds are coming together, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the coming years. So thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. I love it. I appreciate you and all that you do.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for watching today. Lots of love. Take care.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.